Dreams aren't random. It's your personal therapist on night shift. Here's the 3-step process it uses while you sleep. Let's talk about dreams. Let's see how our subconscious is communicating to us through our dreams and how the process works at different stages of the night through the different dream cycles. Each one has a specific purpose, and each one is supremely beneficial for allowing us to actually find more balance in our lives. So, the main thing to remember is everything that is happening in the subconscious, the number one rule is to feel safe and secure. The main thing to remember is the subconscious mind hates the unknown. The unknown is this factor that creates fears about things because that in itself is allowing us to stay safe, to not have to worry about the safety and security of this vessel. So it's doing everything it can to make sure that that happens. So a fear, in that sense, is actually a good thing because a fear is keeping you away from the unknown and possibly danger. How does this relate to dreams? And the first stage are the dreams not long after you've gone to bed. And these stages are about just sorting through the day. Now, you can think about this stage similar to driving on the road. And if you're driving down the road and perhaps it's a highway and there's trees on either side and there's a billboard here and there and there's exit signs, well, your mind isn't going through the details of every single tree that's going by because that would be too much. So your mind just goes, trees, and it just says there are trees on the side. So it's making this generalization that there is an aspect of trees. So this generalization is part of a thing that happens naturally in the brain to make it easier to process all of this information from the day. The next thing that the brain does is it will decide which things are important. So perhaps there was a billboard or something important that happened in your day, and it was connected to another thought or another series of emotions. Well, that gets much more top-level awareness because it's connected to other systems. And so this thing gets then sorted as important. Much like if you were sorting through your mail, it becomes a check or a bill, something that you want to review later. So we have this generalization, we have this sorting of the important things, and the dreams will often reflect some of that, where you might have a dream about some of the things that were happening. It might be reminders of some of the important things that happened in that day, but things that are very close to, or even experiences close to the last 24 hours. Now, the next set of dreams, these are the dreams that are happening in the middle of the night. These are what are called the predictive dreams. So it takes all those important things that it sorted out, and like these are important things to hold on to from the last 24 hours, and then it adds those to all of the data of everything that you've sorted through in your life. And what it's doing is trying to predict with this new information what's going to happen tomorrow. And the reason why it's trying to predict that is because then it becomes unknown. If it's unknown what's going to happen tomorrow, then there's always this little bit of fear about what could happen. And this fear is keeping us from making choices, from making decisions of moving forward in our life. So it's actually helping us to come to terms with some things that could happen so that we're ready for them if they do happen. Like for example, you mess up on some project and there's a little bit of worry about some email back and forth with a boss or a colleague. Well, those important things might kind of drift into your dream state, added to whatever's been going on at work in the days, weeks, months prior, and it then will predict what could happen. Maybe it's you're going into a meeting with your boss, or it's these are the ones that feel like it's like a prophetic dream because you're inferring from all of this information what could happen. And like I said, the purpose is to make it so that it's a known, and if it's a known, then we can feel calm and safe and relaxed that even though this might be a bad outcome, we're at least ready for it. Then the last stage of dreams that is happening right before you wake up, these are the ones that often feel a little bit stronger, a little bit deeper in the emotional sense, because that's what they're connected to. The subconscious is going through all of these things that were sorted through, going through what it predicted, and when it starts seeing some sort of pattern of stress or anxiety or guilt or shame or anger, these things that were coming up through your waking state, if they're carried through into the dream state, it says, all right, we got to get rid of some of these things because this is not being taken care of enough during the waking hours. So we're going to use our subconscious connection to imagery and have this dream reflect a release of some of that by truly getting to act it out. And most of the time, we're observers in dreams. We're not engaged like we are when we're lucid dreaming. But in these observations, we're still feeling what's going on, which is why sometimes you can wake up in the morning and you feel like something really happened. Almost like you want to call that person that was in your dream because it felt so real. Well, this is because this is touching into that level of emotional connection. And it's all for that venting or that release of that pressure of that emotion. And it's doing it in such a way that it's allowing you to have more space when you are in that conscious awake state to move through your day and allow for when these things come in, it doesn't maybe affect you quite as much because you already released some of that pressure in those early morning dreams. These are the 3 stages of dreams that happen, and everyone goes through them. And even if you don't remember your dreams, this process is still happening. This is a natural process of our subconscious mind that allows us to get rid of this extraneous information, try and make sense of some of it so that we don't feel so worried about the future. So we have some sort of certainty in whatever way, good or bad. And then for anything that is extraneous, that's just too much for us to process during the day, there is this time in these early morning dreams that we can vent out or release any of that pressure of emotions. I hope this makes sense to you, and if you have some specific dreams, I would love to work with you with some dream therapy to really just connect with the emotions of the dreams instead of the symbols in them, because any symbol can have different meanings. Even if you go and look it up, it might have a different meaning to you. And if we just focus on the reality of the dream itself, the emotions that were felt, the things that could have been real and the things that could never have been real, it can give us an idea of the messages that are truly trying to come through from that subconscious with that aspect of let's keep it light, let's put lots of love in it and grow from this experience so that we don't have to experience this low vibration anymore. If you're interested in learning more about dreams and a way to work through them, give me a call, click on the website, sign up, subscribe, all the likes, do all the things, and let's get in touch. Dreams are your nighttime shift therapist. Let's make them your daytime strategy. Smash that heart and share this with a friend who keeps Googling dream meanings.